Hey people, it's Steel Gamer here. Welcome back to more useless and broken mechanics. I'm going to continue playing here, and as I said, I changed one of the .png pictures for when I took a picture of the vault. So I'm just trying to figure out where that may or may not be. So I'm going to hopefully see if this shows up. If it doesn't, then I guess apparently it's not the right format. So let me continue and see how this works. What is this, a trial? I guess apparently they forgot to disconnect the, I can't even talk. Apparently I must still be in the beta. They forgot to, they must have removed this. Alright, give me a second to log in. I'll be right back. Okay, yeah. I kind of logged back in. That message was hilarious. And then afterwards, I should have kept it. I should have kept the video showing because it says an unknown error has occurred. Unknown error has occurred. That's like computer saying mouse and keyboard detached. Please press any key to continue, or error, some kind of error. I'm sorry, but that was just funny to me. All right, anyway. Man, I'm still clogged up. I took something with my ears, but oh my god. I hate this. This is like driving in an airplane and then your ears block up and you gotta move your jaw to pop them. I look like an idiot. That message was just too funny. Alright, what the hell was that? Did I just like land on the ground somewhere? I did. Oh, that's hilarious. But really? My camp is opening? That's awesomeness. Alright, so far, I guess apparently I'm, wait a minute, hold on. We're gonna back out of this for a minute. How far do I have to go around this? This is ridiculous. There we go. Alright. I'm wondering if that's too much. Should I actually remove that section there? Nah, I'm fine. There we go. So let me, see how much, need do I have here? I guess apparently I got to figure this out. Alright, so let's see. Food? Alright, so item. Aid. Hey, how's it going, man? So did you understand what I was getting at earlier, James? About the why Bethesda needs to really fix their friggin' games. It's not just one game. It's a history of these games. And so the other point I'm making is a lot of gamers can't put those concepts together. Like, they'll just go ahead and play it and won't realize that, you know, as I explained, using the example of buying a horse, buying a house, and then buying furnishings to your house are actually connected together because they literally use the same exact procedure. And so most gamers will, like, not even think of that concept. That's one of the main reasons why people can't copy my channel. They would have to know enough to actually find information like that. I can just do it for some random reason. That's just how I look at things. So that's why I don't have to worry about anybody ever copying my channel, because it's just they're just not going to be able to pull it off. So let me see here. What I think is funny is somebody's gonna say, "Oh, you know, you should have got your daughter." Yeah, I don't care. Sure, thanks. That'd be. You didn't want it off? All right, that's fine. I'll have them. All right, so what was I doing here? Oh yeah, purifier. Chemistry station. So what I need to do is scrap items. Okay, so I need to figure out how to take in. Let me see. All right. Alright, so I need to figure out how do I produce non-spoiled food? I think I have a level up. See, here's something I don't understand about this perk system. If I go to choose charisma, is it opening only things for charisma? I don't understand like where this would be, or does it not really matter where it comes from? I don't know. That's just weird to me. Let's see. Alright, that's actually what I'm gonna see. Oh, I guess it does. I guess apparently it opens this up. Wait a minute. Yeah, I don't use teammates. What if you really want to hear a good joke about this game? Every single person that I've actually discussed this with a few streamers, like I've said this in their streams, where I says I just find it amusing how hold on, let me read this and I'll get back to this. Okay, more components when you scrap weapons and armor. Well, that's a new one. I don't care about that. Mystery meat. Wow, that's messed up. So let me radiate my. I think that's what this says. Let me radiate myself, so I can get a higher chance of. At what? So you hold on a second. If I'm reading this right, this is literally saying you have to irradiate. You have to radiate yourself in order to have the chance of getting better food. What? That doesn't even make any sense. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Alright, so I'm at max rank on that one. Yeah, I don't care about the key to charisma. That I'm not worried about. I don't care about that. Alright, let me see if I can. I think I'm going to do Scrapper. I think that's what I'm going to do. Wait, what's this? Oh, wow, that's a tough one. Yeah, I don't have a weight problem. I don't understand, like, how do people have a weight problem in this game? I don't get it. I swear to God, whoever on the development team actually designed the system for this must have been a big fan of the show Hoarders. If you haven't seen Hoarders, go look it up. It's rather interesting. Happy camper. Yeah, well, it can't be. Okay, whatever. Okay, I need to know Scrapper is what I'm looking for. Where is it? I think I'm going to pick that one. That's one of the main reasons I don't actually have a problem with I don't have a problem with I think it's lock, right? Oh, there it is. Okay, so battery removes 30% more. First aid stim packs. Yeah, I don't care about that. So let me remove that and put this in. Unless I can use all of these. I can. Okay. So yeah. So one of the ongoing, I call it an ongoing joke with this, is because if you listen to all the people complain about how bad this game is, and I'm not praising the game by any means, I'm just calling out people's stupidity. if you listen to the people all complaining, you read most of these people's complaints, most of them haven't even really played the game. Now, some of the reviewers, I can give them that because they spent 30 plus hours in the game doing things. That's fine. But if you're just going to go around saying, "Oh, this game sucks," based off of what other people do, that's fine. But what's funny is people complain about this game and how bad it is and how broken it is, and then they'll go out and buy it and play it. It's just. Oh my God, that's to me, that's just an ongoing joke. So, and I'm not the only one that thinks that too, so it's rather amusing. Alright, so anyway, I keep saying I'll explain the differences between between an MMO, an MMORPG, and then, social menu? Alright, thank you. Who friggin' sent me a friend request? Oh, you find that funny too? Yeah, it's just, you find games that are just, I don't know, people are just dumb. So, huh, interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to fast travel too. Alright, so anyway, the difference between an MMO, I know I keep saying that, you never actually answer me if you want me to explain it, because I don't want to pound it into the ground if you're not interested. But, I'll wait till you reply. I'm assuming you think it's funny, too, that people do that. It is. It's amusing. It's like, that's like them watching a TV show. Oh, I can't stand this show while they continue watching it. Okay, so, alright, the difference... I'm assuming you're saying you want to know the difference between those co-op and MMO, a multiplayer game, things like that. And they're fine lines where gamers will nitpick at the gray areas on it, but in reality, do you know what the term MMO actually even stands for? And this is where people, this is the difference between when I do something and gamers, gamers don't. The difference between me and gamers is when I explain something, I actually pull up things that actually are put together. They're not strewn about, and I will take things and show you examples of the same thing. And it's funny how gamers just skip all this information. So, okay, so the term MMO, all MMO stands for is massive multiplayer online. It's just a mass amount of people that are online in a game at the same time. They don't have to be in the same server or in the same area. They just all have to be online in the same game. So, for in this particular case, Fallout 76 has a massive amount of people online at the same time because it's a Bethesda online game only. Now, think of when you're dealing with any massive player, any amount of people on a game at once. Think of it like this. Whether or not you have a bunch of people all together on one place with different servers, or you have different servers with a few people on them on each server, the concept is exactly the same. You have, let's say, an office building that has 7 floors to it. Think of each one of those floors as a server. Each floor can only house so many servers, but all of the servers are inside the same building. So, when you go to a different floor, you're swapping servers. That's the best way to explain it. Now, in this particular case, everybody's online at the same time. They're just in a different place because when you separate the floors in an office building, you can actually determine if that office building is if the entire office building is being run off of one generator, or each floor has its own generator. But either way, it's still the same concept. So what winds up happening is, in this particular case, this is an MMO. Diablo 3 is an MMO. World of Warcraft is an MMO. The term MMORPG is a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. That's That's games that have the element of role-playing elements in them. So when you design your character, you put points in, you can choose your skills, things like that. And so when you have, Fortnite is an MMO, but it's not an MMORPG to the same faction that WoW is, because there's only a certain amount of people that are allowed on one server at a time. The reason Blizzard can do that is because they have the money to be able to stabilize the servers with that many people on it. If you've ever watched the game, even Blizzard servers crash because if you have too many people in the entire server doing too many things at once, you'll crash the server. That's why what happened with, even with a limited amount of people, if the server is not stable, that's a problem because it'll crash the game, and if it crashes the game, everybody on that office floor gets removed. So it's if you're even if you're on the left side of the office, if you're on the 7th floor on the left side of the office, and then somebody on the right side does something, you can literally wipe the entire floor out by something that happens if the floor itself isn't stable. That's just what it comes down to. Now that won't affect anybody else because they all have their own separate, sections. But that's just the way this works. So in this particular case, I think Fallout 76 has a maximum of total that the server can safely house without having a disruption 32 players. I could be wrong in that. I don't know the exact amount, but they have a certain amount of players on here. So if you log out and then you log back in, you could be placed on a different office floor. So, for example, you'll almost never have 32 players on the server at once. Like there's no way to actually find out how many people are actually on this particular office floor. But let me see. That's a player. These little white dots are players. That's a player. That's a player. So there's 2, me. There's 3 people so far. 4, 5. Yeah, there's a bunch of people on here, but it's not like over the top. And so, if you look at what happened, even people who are up here, like what's going on up here, won't affect me over there. However, if the server gets surged, I don't want to say surged, but if the server gets overloaded in any one place, it won't matter where you are in the game. So, for example, this game has nuclear bombs. And so what happened is if you look up the video about what happens when you launch 3 nuclear bombs on the server, it'll crash the entire server, so it doesn't matter who's on there, everybody gets kicked off. It's because the server wasn't stable, and I don't think Bethesda realized that was going to happen. Now, that's an accident. That's where patches come in. But it's still amusing to watch because you don't know what the stress limit of a server is. So in that regard, what they would do is, one solution, I guess, could be, and I'm guessing, is that you just reduce the amount of people allowed on the server. That way, what all the effects that happen would make up for the normal people that would have been on the server. So it's still having 32 people on the server without having 32 people on the server. That extra space is just for effects and things like that, so it doesn't surge the server. I guess that's all I'm saying. So that's the difference between those. Now a co-op game is different. A co-op game, this actually is a co-op game. Co-op game is when players play together or work together to do things. In essence, all games are basically co-ops, such as Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer, Dragon Age Inquisition multiplayer. Those are all co-op games. Diablo is a co-op game because you can only have 4 people in a game at a time. In this, you can have multiple people all teamed up. But that's because they're on the same level. It's basically would be the same thing as extending a Diablo server. You can only have 4 people and stuff on there. So that's just how this works. So in those regards, that's what a developer calls a stress test. And so when you're dealing with that, this is how it operates. That's just no fault of anybody's. That's just unforeseen aspects that nobody can control. So that's where it comes into. Like, that will actually stop you from playing the game, because if you get kicked out, how do you play? Now, if Bethesda didn't correct that, that would be a problem. So it's one of those things. That's all. So it's weird too, because most games that have a lot of people on it are all MMOs, and they're all co-op because all of them have those 2 mechanics in it. The difference is that this is an actual RPG. So you can actually say this is an MMORPG co-op game because it's massive amount of people online. It does have RPG elements, and it's co-op. But people will say this isn't an MMORPG because they're comparing this to WoW. But in reality, they are the same thing. It's just less people. So that's where gamers don't. That's where the fine line in gamers start arguing or getting into the gray areas of where stuff is. But it doesn't change what I just said. It's people can argue that it's not really a fine line because when you take the principle of how games are put together, that's the way it is. This is an MMORPG. It also has PvP in it. So now I need to figure out how to actually generate. I need to generate this. So let me. I ran into somebody yesterday that actually understood there's an issue with this. And so they explained, they fully understood exactly what was going on with this. So they stopped what they were doing and showed me exactly how this worked rather than sit and frickin' argue with me and things like that. Some people just argue with me and I'm like, well, that doesn't explain anything. Because he's like, then you hook it up. I'm like, well, how do you hook it up? He goes, yeah, that's a little weird. So I was actually looking for somebody to agree with me to explain this, and they did. So I can bitch about it all I want now, but that's not going to help. It's not going to stop anything, so I now know how it works, so I can't really use that as an excuse anymore. So, let me see. Apparently I need a generator. I just got to find out where the hell the generators are. Oh, I can't do this. I need, copper. Wait, do I? Alright, this will actually answer my question, because I could have sworn I had copper in here. I gotta go to my stash. Oh wait, I can just go to my camp here. Actually, this will. Oh, I'm in. Oh. Oh no, I guess I don't have copper. Huh. Interesting. So, wait a minute, hold on a second. I want to check something out. I'm having a problem finding it. My game refuses to produce food. And it's a problem because I keep getting these screwed up diseases which hit my food and my thirst. And because of the thirst, it doesn't matter how much you drink. You need to get rid of that disease because it's just a waste. That's why I didn't have any aid. Because I was under the impression that I could just go through, but they need to nerf how long these diseases work. And when you start getting hit with these diseases, you can't fast travel. It's worse than being over encumbered because it's just you can't travel. And when you keep doing that, you just keep getting hit worse and worse and worse. So even if you find, like, you would have to go to a stream and let's say you're suffering from I think it's dysenteria or something. I can't pronounce it. But when you get hit with that, it drains your water. But what happens here is, if you go to like any pond and drink, you get hit with parasites and then they drain your food. And so you're screwed no matter what it is you do. And these diseases last so exponentially long that eventually it'll wear off. But by that time, you've taken so much friggin' damage, you can't get to an area where there normally would be, like, hunting and everything else. So, for example, I got into an argument yesterday with these two streamers started being douchebags. If they just shut their mouth and let me finish, they would have understood what the issue is. They went over here. I forget where the hell they were. I was way over here somewhere. And, I was up here somewhere. And what wound up happening was I couldn't get into, the area, I guess, where they were showing because I couldn't fast travel. And every time I went down here, I wound up having something happen over here where it would cause me to have to come back up here to refill my health because I couldn't make it. So because of that, I couldn't fast travel to where it was. So I was having a problem generating food. And so it's kind of a catch-22 situation where if you don't play the game, it's hard to explain. However, if you do, what's on your screen is not going to be the same as mine. Like, if you watch any of my playthroughs, you'll see that I don't run into animals. I don't run into, like, much food at all. And the food I do have, I have to keep doing because I keep getting these diseases. So it's screwed up. And so, I had no idea how to use any of these generators or anything else. I mean, somebody finally showed me last night because they fully understood exactly what I was talking about. So now that I understand all that, I can't bitch about not knowing how to use it anymore. But it's just, it pisses me off how I've been playing this long, and for the longest time I could have been generating this so I didn't have that problem, but instead I got screwed over. So I was like, yeah, it pisses me off, and that's why I bitch about stuff. It's not that I want my handheld, but tell me how to friggin' use this shit. You know what I mean? It's stupid. So yeah, it's a problem to answer your question. Sorry I went through that whole thing about, you know, how that to get to that point, but it shit happens. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, that's what I needed to do. I needed to check something. Edit. It requires copper and screws. So it's saying I have 2 screws. I'm trying to find out, do you play this game or not? Maybe you can answer me a question. The question I have is, does building stuff automatically take it out of your stash, or do you have to have it on your person? I know some games will allow you to have it housed in a stash, where if you just went to a crafting table, it would just pull it out of your stash. But some games literally require you to have the components on your character when you're doing it. I don't foresee they did that particular thing, but do you have to have the components on you, or will they, like, for example, if I have this here, will it pull out, you know, will it pull out where this is? Because, let me see, you know what? I think I could just answer my own question. Screws. Let me see. Loose screws are 2. So if I put those over there, and then I go over here, if it shows that I still have 2, then it will pull them out. Okay, so it does. It doesn't matter where it is in your stash. At least I'm assuming that, because it shows that I have 2 of 4 screws, and I just put them in my stash, and they're not on my person. So, okay, so that way. So, yeah, basically, one thing that I didn't know that the person actually said, because this is why I get out, this is why I go out of my mind when game designers don't explain very specific things. Because where it says, like I said, the person explained it to me, and they actually covered something I wouldn't have even known enough to ask. I wouldn't have even paid attention to this until they said it. So he says, he explained the interface. So he says where it requires that lightning bolt 8, he explained what this was. And so without, I kind of can put the 2 and 2 together and understand that that's an electric bolt. But the number 8 under it was a different thing. I had no idea what that number was. I understand it comes up as 8 power, but I'm like, what does that even mean? So apparently he said when you build generators, some generators produce 5, others produce 3, others produce 10. He said you can do 2 generators, 1 and 5, and it'll produce 8. I would never have even known enough to even look at that. So if I started doing what he said and he didn't cover that, I would still be having a problem. Like, I friggin' built the generator, why isn't this working? And that would have caused me to create a whole new set of videos showing just how dumb this is, and all anybody would do is argue with me, not understanding the point is that information is crucial to you knowing how this works. And if I did, let's say I built the generator that did 10, I would have no idea I had 2 left over. You know what I mean? I wouldn't know that. So that's a bad game design when you do that. And that's why I always say, people are like, oh, you want your handheld for everything? Figure it out. I shouldn't have to figure this out. A base example should have been given to me, or should be given in the game by the developer that says, hey, we're going to show you how to use this stuff. Here's an example. Here's this, this, and this, and this. If you want to connect this, do this. Now use this one example for building. And it's done. That does explain everything. So people saying he can't explain everything, it doesn't know how to write instructions, that's all. So, like I said, I can bitch about that all I want, but it's just, I'm just putting points together because people argue in my videos, and then later on they find out what the hell, there really was a problem. Your head hurts or your ear? Oh, yeah. All right. So anyway, I'm going to... It's an ear. It's not a leg. It looks like a chicken. It looks like a piece of chicken, though. It does. Oh, by the way, not that I'm promoting these. In case you're wondering why I'm wearing my sunglasses, it's because I always promote safe streaming, and since I always usually keep the brightness and contrast on my monitor about halfway, like my monitor is a 50% brightness, it's a 50% contrast, so it's not like bright, and it tones the lights down. That's why I don't really get headaches, and a lot of people do. It's because they have the damn contrast up so high, and the contrast is like oops, that's not good. So people don't realize that the saturation in the game also applies to that. It's really rough on your eyes. How's it going, No Heart? You just love making comments, huh? It's fine. You can make all the comments you want. No big deal. You have a right to your opinion. And to clear up something, I don't like. Let me see. Let me rephrase this. No, they have a right to their opinion, but if you're going to say that, that's not actually what my arguments are. So you're not actually quite correct on that. My whole channel revolves around lazy game developing. What the hell? I just like walked up. Really? I've been walking around this whole area. It just now triggers? Oh, that's hilarious. So, here's the other. Let me ask a question. Where do you guys get that I hate the game? When did I ever say that? Because I mean, if you're gonna say I said I hate the game, you need to prove where that was said, because you're just talking out your ass, and I'm gonna call you on it. Nowhere did I say I hate this game. Nowhere do I, on any of my channels, do I say I hate the game. I never say I hate a game. To clarify, I says I hate lazy development that withholds information from players that they could be utilizing to play. Face it, people can argue with me all that they want, but when it comes down to it, you can't disagree with me on one fact. If you're playing a game and you are oblivious to something you could have been using all along, and then you find out an hour and a half, 3 hours later, or even a week into the game that you could have been using something all along that could have helped you, you're going to get pissed off. You can't even say you're not going to. And you can't even say that's okay for a game designer to do. You can't even say that's okay. Anybody who even says that's okay is looking to pick arguments out of nothing. That's just dumb. Nobody in their right mind is going to accept that. Well, all right. Just in all fairness, I get what you're saying. So let me clarify something. Let me just clarify one thing. I don't look for things to pick about. I come across them because of how I play. This is not something... I don't go into this game saying, hey, what can I find? That's completely false. That's not what I do. My point is, case in point, the water generator. Prime example, water generator. The water purifier. Because this is the stuff that people say. They'll say these things without understanding a damn thing about what I'm talking about, and then either leave so they don't listen to the explanation, and then take off, and then they'll tell other people, well, you just hate the game, blah, 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 blah. And instead of actually listening, because if you listen, you'd understand exactly my points, but they don't listen to me, so whatever, it's not my problem. It doesn't change the facts. You know? I don't like I don't like saying this is a water purifier, and then when I put it down, not have any water purified with it, and then no explanation as to why no water purifier, so it gives me the impression it's a cosmetic. There's no way that there's nothing for me to question. Why would I even question this? But when I find out from another player later on that you can purify water with this, and I've been having a problem with water all along, yeah, I'm going to say something about it. That's something I find out during the course of the game. That's not something I go, oh, I'm going to see if this water purifier does this, and it's not something I do. It's just how I piece things together. So, unfortunately, people that argue with me fail to, they just don't listen to that concept. It's really sad. What the frick is this? Yeah. So that's a prime example of, you know, that's why it's funny when this stuff is in stream. I point it out as it comes along. That's why a lot of people that used to argue with me stopped arguing with me, because they're not using correct judgment when they make their statements. And that's their opinion. That's fine. They can say that. But if you're not going to listen to me, that would be like somebody saying, oh, I stopped watching your video at this point. Then I just delete their comment because they don't have any business doing it. That's why I said I wanted to use you as an example, James, because whether or not you watch the entire video, you at least listen to it and, you know, certain points, because you critique the points that I make. And I know you listen to it because there's no way you could have not listened to it if you're saying what you're saying. So it's just, you know, because I said what you said about, you know, me making the comment about the car and the rock. I do read comments, by the way. People think I don't read the comments. I do. And so when I made that that comparison about the rock and the car, you said that's complete BS, which is fine. You have a right to your opinion. But that's just the comparison I made for it, and how you know, what the issues are with this. Now, I'm going to point something out about the importance level of understanding when I make a comment about Guitar Sword. Really? Oh, that's hilarious. So I want to make a point. I want to point something out that people will try to. If I don't point this out, somebody's going to try to use this as a contradiction. So what happens here is, what I was complaining about the water purifier not being explained. I guess in a sense you can say the same concept applies to the VAT system. However, the difference is I can still shoot and fight without the VAT system. The VAT system is not necessary for combat. The water purifier is 100% necessary in order for you to utilize it to get its use. That's the difference. So I don't really piss and moan about the VAT system. I'm not worried about that, because I don't find the VAT system. I don't need it. I'm still having a fine time surviving against enemies that have this, you know, that are killing. So the VAT system isn't needed in the same fashion that the water purifier is. That's the point. Let me see. I need food here. Wait, did that just... Oh, it's taking the shit away, huh? Interesting. They definitely did not implement the, food system in this correctly. It needs to be tweaked. It really, really does. Oh, wait a minute. I need to check something. No, that's not what I'm saying. Oh, I already made a comment on that. But yeah, that's not what I'm saying at all. Not even close. See, one of the things that about me is I don't get involved in the hype of how a game is supposed to be, or I don't classify a game as anything. The game is the way it is when it comes out. It has its issues, and if you can deal with it, fine. Deal with it. But, actually, you know what? I wanted to check this out. That is so ridiculous. A guitar sword? That's hilarious. That might... Oh, I'm right back to my, What? There's a random water pump in the middle of nowhere. That's hilarious. All right, so so I don't. My point is I don't ever complain that the game is. This is absolutely true, I guess. You know, it does cause. Hey, people like confrontation. It draws them to it. Like if you ever see a fight on the street, do you stop to watch it? Of course you do. It's just the way it is. You know. But I don't. I found out a long time ago that trying to convince somebody of something that you'll never convince them of because they don't actually listen is pointless. It's unfortunate, but that's why I make some of the follow-up videos I do, because I've had people that argued with me profusely that I wound up really good friends with. You know, I don't want to say friends, but I wound up like really good friends with, because they actually realized that what I was saying about the games are true. And so he goes, you know, I disagreed with you for the longest time, but when he says when he stepped back, he was able to, you know, see every point that I made is absolutely correct. Whether or not people agree with, they don't have to agree with me. They don't have to. But you have to be a complete fool to not. Because there are some things that you just can't, that's not an opinion. They're base facts. So if I open up a screen and say this screen's not explained, without any text on the screen, it's not explained. Even because what happens when you deal with games, there are three different types of learners that exist. There are visual learners, people who can look at something, but need information to say, hey, this is what to do here. There are audio learners who can't learn by visual, who need to be told, do A, B, C, and D, and then they can put it together. And then there's people who learn by touch. If the game makers only put visual learning into the game, so the people who learn visually have no problems doing that, and that's a problem for the people who need audio. So one of the examples I use is people can go, well, it's good enough for a bunch of people. That's not a valid counter argument to the points I'm making, because the point isn't whether or not I didn't ask anybody, or the question isn't, hey, can you look at this and figure it out? The question that's not a question. It has no relevance to the fact that it's not explained. It's not explained. That's the point. So for people to say it is explained, they're saying that every single person that looks at that, not just the people with the visual, is saying they can do it. And that's completely false, because the people who have audio, who need it to be explained in audio, aren't going to be able to do it. So unless everybody is doing it, it's not explained. So the phrase, it's explained, is false. So one of the examples I use in this setup is, if you put 100 people in front of a computer screen, and you put something flashing on the computer screen, okay? And 50 of those people are gamers, and 50 of them are not, okay? What happens is, only 50, the gamers will say, well, I'm just going to go up and click it, just because it's flashing on the screen. While the other 50 people who let's say never played a game, will look at the screen doing nothing. And what now happens is, the gamers will say to the non-gamers, why didn't you press it? The non-gamers will say to the gamers, why did you press it? But none of that argument is relevant, because the fact is, not all 100 people pressed it, and that's all that matters in this. So in order to get all 100 people to press this flashing button, there must be a message on the screen that says, click this flashing button. That's what it means. So if you do that, all 100 people will click it. And unless you have all 100 people clicking it, then it's not explained. Explaining it so only half of the audience putting it in the fashion so only half of the audience gets it, doesn't mean it's explained. Explained would mean all 100 people are doing it. So when I say something's not explained, that's the reference I'm using. You can't put half information in. And if people want to say, well, that's all that's needed for the game for the gamers, that's fine. But that doesn't change. You can't use that to say it's explained, because they're two separate things. Having enough information for your target audience is one thing. Having it explained is a totally different story. They're two separate things that gamers don't know how to separate. That's what gamers argue with me about. So I always call people out. When you say something is explained, you're saying no matter who sits down in front of it can do it. Not just the gamers. So people are like, oh, you're insane. You have no bad. If you actually listen to my reasoning behind it, you'll see that I'm right. Did I really? Really? Did I just shoot him and he like went in the ground? That's hilarious. Oh, there he is. Huh. I can't see the friggin' red dot on this. Oh, that's hilarious. I need to do something with the perks. Iron stomach. Do I have iron stomach already? Oh, I do. Okay, so I'm not going to catch a disease, really. There we go. I need to use RadAway for this. There's a super mutant over here, I believe. I just saw it and I don't know what the hell's going on. I have no idea where I even am. What am I doing here? I need to find an event. Oh, fucking pain in the ass. Okay, so one of the things I was talking about in complaints about food is that, as you saw what just happened, I'm literally almost out of food and water right now. And so, unless I find them, I wind up contracting these stupid diseases. So it's really annoying to have to keep going through this. This is drink, so let me see. I need to go in the first person with this. So oh, I've already been over here. Let me see. Try this and see what happens. Oh, there he is. I think that's him, isn't it? Well, that's weird. There's no, like, icon above his head. Huh. Oh, there he is. What the hell? The hell's his destination, anyway? Wow, this is going to be messed up. It'd be kind of cool if you could just, like, float along the ground like that. I'm wondering if there's a way to do these events. Oh, actually, no, that wouldn't make any sense. If this event spawned at night, would it be harder? Does this event even spawn at night? That would be actually kind of cool if events didn't really give a crap about the time of day and see what happens. At night being more dangerous than not. That'd be interesting. I don't know, does the path look different? I have no idea. Escort quests suck ass. Brink had some of the worst ones ever. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Oh. Huh, that's so weird how he goes up and down like that. I mean, I know he's only an inch off of the ground, but still, that's a couple inches off of the ground, but that's kind of interesting that it goes up and down according to the terrain. The collision data on that's actually pretty good. Okay. I have a feeling that this is going to get ugly. And we're going to need makeup. Yeah, we're going to need makeup because this is going to get ugly. Where are we going? Where's this thing going, sir? Oh, there it is. Oops, I hit him. Really? Oh, that's funny. I don't like going in the water here. This is ridiculous. Is he stuck? Like, seriously? Oh, that'd be funny if he was stuck there. Oh, gosh, this is... Really? Oh, okay, he can't come up. I was like, what the hell is he doing? That's hilarious. This is an axe. This is awesome. I got an axe. Wait, where am I going anyway? Where is this map? Oh, okay, I don't know where the hell I'm supposed to be going, but I guess apparently this is going to lead me to something else. Let me tune into this. Oh, I guess I can't tune into it. I'm not near it. It's awesomeness. Where's this thing going? Oh, there we go. I had to go catch up to him. I think after I get this guy finished, this one mission thing, I'm going to end this stream and go spend some time with my wife. I'd like to know who does the voice for that. That'd be hilarious to look. Good day to you. Where's he going? Can I go up here? People are going to be using this quest to show, well, you can walk up terrain. This is showing you how to walk up terrain. People are so stupid. I can picture somebody trying to use that as an argument. This quest actually, if you did this quest, it shows you how to walk up terrain. It's like, oh man, so dumb. That argument is so stupid. I can picture somebody doing it though. I have an axe, but I can't chop down wood. Hey, can you chop down trees in this? Kind of go. What the? How the hell did he get over that? That's funny. How am I doing here? What the hell's going on? I can't hear a word he's saying. Don't really give a shit either. Nice. 2 Stimpaks, 3 Rotary, 3 Purified Water, 10 rounds, something, something. Cool. Alright, so after I clear this house out, I'm going to end this stream. And, that's so nasty. It's weird you can't take their clocks off on the wall. It'd be kind of cool. Really? It's a map? That's interesting. Oh, it looks like a map. That's funny. Oh, I already did all that, right? Is there a downstairs? Or is it not downstairs? Huh. There's nothing in this house. It's so messed up. Alright, so sit down, that's it. Cat pool. Oh, there's a bunch of cat balls. Oh, interesting. Whee! Dude, did they just fall through the thing? They fell through it. That's awesome. Bobby pin box. Table lamp, and that's it. Alright, so I'm gonna this person has a ton of cat balls. I wonder what the hell's going on here. Is that plants? Wait a minute, is that plants? Oh, interesting. Alright, so I'm going to actually go back to my camp. I wanted to feed the people, I already did that. I'm going to go back to my camp, and then I will exit the game. My wife made eggs. I'm going to go eat them. Be yummy. And that's about it. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm gonna go upstairs, salvage this crap, and then see what's going on. Wood right arm? That's hilarious. Yeah, I like the Surveyor outfit better. So I'm going to do auto stem left leather arm. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of that. Scrap that. So now I need to transfer some of this shit here. Alright, so I'm gonna go try to see if I can build one of these friggin' generators. Huh. Interesting. Copper. So for the meantime, I'm going to store this. Alright, so I'm going to end the stream now. Go spend some time with my wife. I'll talk to you guys later. Steel Gamer signing off. Have a good day or night, wherever you are.